Here we go on Tithing Part 4. I've been doing my best to make it short and sweet and known. And what we're going to talk about is the Malachi, the book of Malachi, chapter 3. And those of you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Malachi 3, 9 through 9 and 10. And let me tell you, it is misused and taken out of context for gain and profit more and pretty much more than any other scripture. And it's a to put fear and guilt and all that on someone to give more money so they can make more money off of you. They might not try to interpret it like that, but guess what? That is exactly how they're doing it, and it needs to come to a stop. Let's read Malachi 10 real quick. Malachi 10 is, where's that? Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Now remember, storehouse was the store. It was to store vessels, corn, grain, wine, oil. And if you look at Nehemiah the prophet, in the book of Nehemiah, he says it several times about the storehouse. In Nehemiah 10, 38, 39, Nehemiah 12, 44, and Nehemiah 13, 5. Let me tell you, the storehouse was a storage room built around the temple to receive the tithe. And it was overseen by temple workers from the tribe of Levi. Once again, the only ones that could take a tithe were Levites. And we do not have any Levites today. The only food in God's house was in the tabernacle. And it was a dozen loaves of bread, and that bread was for priests only, not for the tribe of Levi, since there were only 12 loaves of bread in the tabernacle, temple of God. Are we to believe that the whole nation of Israel did not bring enough grain to the storehouse to make even 12 loaves of bread? Let me go back to the storehouse real quick. The storehouse is not the church house. Let me say that again. The storehouse is not the church house. Then, is God reprimanding Christians of the 21st century through the book of Malachi, to bring our cash and debit cards and that there be money in my house? Yet this is the teaching of the 21st century church concerning Malachi's message. We know that they did not bring the tithes and offerings into the holy place of the tabernacle. Only bread was kept in the holy place. The bread in the holy place was a type of something for the future. And it was foreshadowing the true bread of life, Jesus Christ. Let me ask you, are we this spiritually blind that we cannot see that? If God wanted more money in his house, why did Jesus do what he did at the house of God? Why did he do what he did in Matthew 21, 12 to 13? Oh, turning the money changers over. Why did he do that? Here's the Christian interpretation when it comes to Malachi 3:10. Bring ye all the tithe and money, an extra offering of money to the church, that there be money in the church. That's exactly what we're telling people. Let me ask you, does God suggest somewhere in this prophecy that there isn't enough money in his house? Is Jesus Christ coming back to earth to judge these priests because people failed to bring enough money into the storehouse so that there will be money in God's house? And is it the lack of money that concerns God in this prophecy? I don't think so. But this is what we are telling people today that come to Christ. We remove all, Jesus' blood removes all curses and burdens and set you free in every way, except your financial curse. But he only removes that curse if you put up 10% to your local church. That, my friend, is wrong type of thinking, but that is exactly what is being taught. Here's another thing you will hear. You also hear in Malachi 3:10 through 11 about the devourer. And you hear preachers, they like to take that and turn that devourer into the devil. Well, that's not what he's talking about. Remember, the tithe and everything came from the food, the land. So look at Joel 2:25 and 26. It talks about locusts, that is the devourer. Again, tithe came from the land. It was not money. And again, they had money back then. And if you look in Deuteronomy, I think it's Deuteronomy 14, it said take your money and buy what you need. But you won't hear that said. Again, giving is supposed to be about giving in love and from the heart and about what God puts on your heart. It's not a percentage. And you shouldn't, this Malachi 3 that is always used is used for gain and profit and make people feel guilty and get out that money to put up to give more. And that's not what it was for. We're supposed to be giving in love and not a percentage, or not feel guilt into giving. And preachers need to start talking about the joy of giving, the joy, the love of giving, not a percentage. Get this tithe system out of here, period, so we can start getting back to God. Remember, everything belongs to God. And preachers need to stop using this book of Malachi for gain. And I heard a preacher say that if you're robbing God, you're going to be cursed, so you better give. Get out that money right now. That type of preaching and teaching, and that is just so wrong. Not just wrong, that is just, it shouldn't be used at all, period. Why would we even preach like that? My goodness. Remember, it's all about giving in love, and it's not a percentage. And it never was, because it wasn't geared for us. It was geared for the Israelites. And even this Malachi, the book of Malachi, was geared towards Israel, the Israelites, and the priests that were doing what they was doing. That's what that was for. It wasn't for us. It's like I've said before, and I'll say it again. It's a whole new ball game after Calvary, and we need to wake up and see that. If you're going to, like I've said before, if you're going to preach the law, preach all 613 laws. And then if you're going to preach on tithing, preach circumcision also, because that's law. And I will leave it at that. My next one is going to be on Abraham and how he gave it all away. Yes, he gave a percentage, but he gave it all away. So stay tuned.